I was born in a little 2-room log house with a dirt floor and a dirt roof up at Antelope, and it had rooms about probably about 10 by 12 size of the rooms.
How many rooms?
2 rooms.
Now where's Antelope?
In Bonneville County, east of Idaho Falls, over in an area near what they call Dry Canyon, Dry Farm. And then, of course, some of the first things I remembered was all little instances when we would, of course, playing in the yard, and how hot the dust would be, you know, when we'd get out of the shade of the quaking aspens and away from the house. And I remember trips we made down the Dugway, how hot it was walking barefooted down there, you know. And I remember cold springs down at the bottom of the Dugway and watercraft in it, and then times they'd spend picking sarvice and chokecherries, dry the sarvice berries, but use them for raisins, for fruit, and the chokecherries, why, make jellies out of those. They made a real good jelly. And about the time I was 3 or 4, why, Father and Mother built a frame house of lumber. It had a shingle roof and a lumber floor. That seemed like that was really a palace at the time. I imagine it had rooms about 12 by 15. But it was, and then they converted the old log house into a granary and place. Well, they stored some grain, so they'd have grain for the horses, and they hung the harnesses and as much equipment as they had of that sort that they could get in out of the storm. And for water, why, we had to haul the water up from the river and they put it in a cistern. Now, a cistern is a hole in the ground, and they lined it with about a 2-inch layer of concrete so that the water would stay in to the seeping out into the soil, so that it could be get back out to the bucket, used for drinking water and to water the stock. And then later when finally started getting old enough need to go to school, why, they leased out this dry farm for a while, and they moved into the valley, and later they sold the dry farm. And there, the first house we lived in the valley was also a little log house with dirt floor and dirt roof, but it had little bigger rooms. I think them were probably around 13, 14 square rooms.
And what did you do for church when you lived up there? Did you go to church?
I probably didn't go to church. The nearest church would have been Third Rary. That was a long way to go with a team and a wagon. They didn't have a buggy. In the later years, we grew a little older. Shortly after I got to going to school, then Mother and Father built a new log house, and it had next to the old house, and it had shingle roof and board floor. And that really seemed like something when we got into it. That was bigger yet, bigger than we had before.
Did you have running water yet?
Oh no, we never got into running water till after I was married. I never knew what running water was till after I was married. sometime just a year or so after we married, why the folks, they modernized and put a pump in and put a built onto the house, and put a bathroom in, plumbed the water through the house. But even then, after I and Dorothy was married, we didn't have running water. We carried our water in the house for several years until we moved to Salt Lake. That was the first we actually lived where we had running water. I remember a time folks, they quite liked to fish, and they'd take the kids fishing as often as they could, you know. We'd get through with our brush work in the spring, and then there'd be a little slack spell, and they'd take a day or two off, and we went out on the West Camas quite often. Seemed to like to take us to the smaller creeks, apparently maybe because they figured we were safer there. We could enjoy ourselves fishing, catch the little fish pretty easy, and I remember a lot of times we, as a young kid, I'd catch a whole limit. Of course, they're small enough I could eat a whole limit too.
Do you remember about your wanting that tricycle you always tell me about?
What?
Wanting a tricycle?
No, I don't remember that. I might have one time, but it's sure left out of my memory now.
She told me that he wanted a tricycle so bad, and he couldn't. They didn't have money to buy one, so he cut one out of a catalog.
Oh.
And he thought he was riding it.
Oh.